Welcome back to another episode of Boys Love Not Me. This week we are recapping episode 7 of the thrilling, action-packed television program from 2022. 21? 22.
2 years ago.
A couple years ago. Recent. RJ, I hope you're well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you are as well.
Thank you. And now to the news. We start off in the middle of the chokehold.
The choking.
It's good to know what
Just some slight asphyxiation.
what your romantic partner's proclivities are up front.
Is somebody gonna rush for a frick?
Okay. So Sean is choking out White because he fucked up the plan. He did not pour in the bitterness.
He did not pour. As you remember, the bitterness was not. The bitterness was put next to the best, but I was not put in the bitterness. And Sean lets it out that they killed my dad because of all of this.
Yeah.
And they pull him away from Black, nay White.
Off, I think, had 10 lines in the entire episode.
I know.
This was a line free. He got that script and he was like, fuck yeah.
Which is great because last episode was very Sean focused. It was all
Sean White heavy.
Yes, yeah. So it's nice that he got a little break, a little gay break.
A little gay break.
Episode. But through that, so that's when White was like, oh, so this is about your dad.
Because Graham and York pull him off.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't die. Could you imagine if
now
he
both
died,
twins are dead,
and then that's when Black wakes up?
Yeah.
It's a whole different show.
Well, that could have been a twin thing. What if Black all of a sudden was jolted from his coma because White was being choked?
Maybe he was. We haven't seen him. We don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just walking around the streets again.
They pull him off and then they're like, oh, this is about your dad. And Sean's like, I don't want to talk about it. You brought it up.
Well, first of all, yeah. So for sure, you brought it up.
You brought it up.
So people are gonna ask questions.
Yeah.
Second, I understand that you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
it's a heavy subject.
Of course.
Your dad died unfairly, unjustly.
Yes. Yeah.
Your father was murdered. You probably should talk about it at some point, just for your own kind of
your own self.
Through.
Yeah. But also maybe to the team at large who's enacting crimes with you, trusting their lives on you too.
Yeah, I also feel like it was. I'm not trying to poke. I'm genuinely not trying to poke holes because I think that's pointless because I could poke a million. But I do think it's interesting that his dad's situation was a big enough thing that he referenced it in the class.
That's true.
So everyone knows what happened,
right? If you
but
wanted
they don't know that it's connected to Sean.
But I feel like you could, a person could look into it and be like, oh, those are the same last names. Or whatever. He talks about it enough that someone could figure it out.
Yeah. I actually thought that they were going to be like, yeah, we knew. I thought that's what Graham and York were
no one
say.
knew. Yeah, Graham and York also didn't know.
He says the reason he didn't do it was because he had this idea. He didn't want to poison people because they need to get people on their side.
Yes.
And if people feel
get they're in danger or they get hurt or
if
whatever.
they are harmed by this, they are going to be more mad at the people who harmed them than the guy who's running a shady business.
Yes.
Because that's active harm that they've gotten or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is fair. And he says that it's more of a problem to be almost like it's more of an annoyance to Tawi, and that's gonna make him mad, and I think in the end that's gonna be his undoing because he's gonna fuck up because he's just gonna be so mad at these guys that he's gonna act rashly because they're getting under his skin. I feel is the energy of what the overall idea is, right? He talks to Graham when they get on the motorcycle, and Graham is like, I mean, I don't know if it's gonna work. It's a little tiny. you would have told me if I came up with this idea. It's a little naive, in my opinion.
Right. And then and then Sean goes with York. York's like, you need to cool off, stay at my place. And basically when they're like hanging out at his place, York is like, yeah, I really don't know why we went through with this plan, because this plan probably was like really
he literally goes,
poorly
this
thought
plan,
of.
Mama, this is garbage.
This is garbage. Mama, this
is garbage.
And if I was Sean, I'd be like, why did no one say
everyone has a ton of opinions.
Everyone has a lot of opinions now that it's done.
Oh, now that it's over. Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, that's convenient.
Y'all could have said something.
Anything.
There
is this level that they have this like great respect for whoever comes
up with the plan, and they just follow it full through.
No one wants to say like, hey.
But I wonder if it's because Black is the leader. That was just his personality of, he was always like, I just want to do this. I just want to do this.
Well, then that's on Gumpa. You don't just get to flit in and out and be like, I trained you, but it's all up to
but
you
got
boys.
My hands are clean.
You are not the fairy godmother situation.
Yeah.
These people are setting houses on fire, girl.
With your motorcycles,
with
girl. Your little scooters. We've got a great shot of First Lane and the BL boxers doing a lot of feet pointing. Doing a lot of leg work.
This is like, I feel like when you watch television, so much of television is like television movies, a lot of stuff is filmed to show you like either like the general middle class for wherever it is, or a little bit aspirational like upper middle class. Very rarely is it like, oh, you're in the like you're
parasites.
In the 1%, right? That's kind of rare.
Oh yeah.
And you're also rarely in people in poverty. Which is obviously what's going on, which I think is weird too, because I mean, I guess I don't know how schooling works.
Right.
I don't know if it's like paid
public,
it's public. But like this gives me, I don't want to say like
lower working class.
Yeah. We're definitely working class, obviously, because we have to come back to the proletariat, which will come up later in the conversation. Don't worry, we'll have a quick 101 on the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, honey. But I like how like low key. I think Graham's room was like nice.
Yeah.
And Sean lives in the garage. We don't know what his actual like.
I don't know what his mom. I think he's all alone now.
I think he's all alone. And we know that, like, obviously black and white come from money.
Yeah.
You're supposed to understand, obviously, that part of the reason that they're as broke as they are is because
she
of her
doesn't get as much work.
And because, there's no, like, social safety net for people with disabilities. So, I really like this scene with York and Sean. The only thing I wanted to say that I didn't say earlier was that there's a line, and I don't remember who says it. There's one of the four characters.
One of the four men, yeah.
It wasn't Sean. I do know it wasn't Sean.
Yeah.
One of them said, people will ignore anything unless they're provoked. Oh, I think it was Graham, actually, that said this. He said people will ignore things until they are provoked. The point of, like, involving people's, like, actionable things that actually affect people
will
wake them up.
Yes.
Because if you can ignore it, you will.
You will.
If it doesn't actually affect you, you're not going to do anything about it.
Cost of eggs.
Girl, don't. Oh my God. Speaking of York's mother, who I was like, we haven't seen her in a minute.
Yes.
She comes back in. I love this. I just think this performance is so interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's not. She does not. Like, there is a lot of like deaf, hard of hearing performers that also like they will either over expression because like that's how you communicate with sign language.
Right.
Part of it is like with facial expression as well. Or they will like do some words to emphasize the point, like sounded, like, you know what I mean? They will say some words.
They're like, yes, yeah.
Right. She is like fully having an argument and is giving nothing, but I think it's like, I can't tell if
it's like really interesting to watch.
I can't tell if it's purposeful. I mean,
it makes it more interesting to as a performance in the world because
Yeah.
it feels like she's just like she's not an actress. Like she's a person that is going through this.
Yes.
Which feels purposeful in like the casting. Whether it's not like she herself is like, this is the acting technique I'm doing, but it feels like the director is like, I want this person to give this energy.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it doesn't feel like she's fed up. It feels like she is like,
I'm just trying to work.
There's nothing.
There's nothing. Yes, it's
what's the point of getting worked up about any of it when it's all
already predetermined, or people,
and it's like set against me. Like,
yes,
I am
exactly.
going to struggle.
I'm
her
the
whole
lowest.
Life has been a struggle.
Yeah, I am like the lowest ring. So like, there's
in this
nothing
caste system, effectively that we have here.
Yeah. And it was just funny because I predicted that it was the same manufacturing plant that she was working with, and it was.
And then it was.
And like, it was interesting because the reaction was more, why are you working for Towie? We know he's bad. And obviously,
I cannot believe. The reason I didn't believe that was what it was was because I was like, well, surely they've had a conversation about where the fuck she works.
Yeah.
No, they had not.
Not a single conversation.
She comes home and he's like, Mom, you're home early. And she was like, the factory I work at
was set ablaze
last night. And I've been suspended without pay. And Yalka's like, wait, you work for Towie? Which I feel like she should have been like, how do you know?
Yeah.
This is like 3 hours after the fact. And all of a sudden he knows.
Because he skipped the step of like, oh, you work at like he was like, oh, I'm taking the information that you were in that manufacturing plant last night that we set ablaze. You work for Towie?
Not, hey.
Are you okay?
Hey, did you hear anything?
Did they say like who
did it?
He did it?
Did they show you the security footage? Because that was another part of the conversation they had last night with Sean was like, I was so mad at Black.
Yes.
That
Sean was distracted and didn't erase the CCTV.
He didn't erase it and he didn't destroy the server.
Yeah.
So they have like grainy CCTV footage of these 4 Thai guys in masks.
Yeah.
I don't know how far that's gonna get you, Diva, but they've got something.
They got something on you. So
and these clowns are wearing the same fucking masks.
Gators, I know.
And will not just buy new ones. Oh my god. So they have this fight about her working for Towie, which again is crazy. I'm sorry. I'm going to be so honest right now. Your mom can work wherever the fuck she wants to work because her options are limited.
Very limited, yes. And you've already gone.
This is not the time to be like, oh my god, I can't believe you would work for him. No.
Yeah.
How about you don't ask where your mom works? You don't check in with her? You don't say, hey, I heard you got a new job. Where do you work?
You don't want to help her? You don't want to be like, let me find you. Let me do the work.
Incorporated Manufacturing Limited and Co. Oh, interesting. I had a plan that I was going to try to explode it with fireworks, but maybe I'll go back to my group and say,
hey, not this one. Maybe not this one.
So she's been suspended without pay. This is the visual manifestation of the exact argument that White said when after he was getting choked out.
Yes.
A crazy thing that
would happen. That like if we harm people, if we put in the Bürunsch, then Towie will get
people laid off.
Yeah, if we get people laid off, Towie will look like like a victim that people will rally to like defend or whatever.
If there are people that could have been swayed to your side, they will be pushed away by this act.
Yes.
Even if they're on the fence, that will decide it for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. I thought that was like a really smart way, though, to make it feel real for Sean.
Totally.
And especially being a parental figure.
Being a parental figure.
Because obviously his whole thing is a parental situation.
And that's the trauma. And it's someone like someone with a disability, like someone that they know. So
yeah.
So Sean's putting the pieces together. Sean's seeing past his blinders.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we're in episode 7. I feel like we should probably start. Seeing past blinders. I do want to say we got so many comments last week of people being like, "Oh my gosh, guys, don't worry. The next episode is when it really buckles in." And I want to say you all were correct.
You're correct. It is.
It was
yes.
episode 7 that it buckles in. But again, I want to reiterate, it was episode 7 that this show buckled in. So I just, maybe at the end of the day, I don't know. Did I say this last week? I think maybe I would rather have like the end of the show be better than the like.
Yes, you did.
I did say this whole thing. Okay.
You did say that, but it's kind of reaffirming.
This is the best episode.
Yeah,
of the show
totally.
So far.
It's
actually solving the thing that I was like worried about, which I was like, how are they gonna make it a BL?
Right.
And then this episode, they were like, "Hey, have you heard about legalizing gay marriage?" And I was like, "Well, now wait a minute.
About marriage equality?
Now wait a minute."
Yeah, I think in retrospect, when we get to when we start talking about the full show, I think there's a lot of stuff that probably could have been just trimmed a little bit in the first half of the show.
Yeah.
So that way it won't feel like, oh, I have to get to halfway through.
I agree that there is a lot of setup. That they have to
totally.
Do. There is a lot.
But I think there's still, I feel that when we get to the end, I'm still going to be like, there was a lot, but I think you could have still focused that in
compacted it. Yeah.
Like, I don't think all of the information needs to be out here. I think there's a lot of it that we got. Things are understood already.
Yeah.
But I think there was a lot of reiterating in different ways in the first 6 episodes that I'm like, no, we got it.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Let's see it. Let's stop talking about it. Let's see it.
But it's interesting because in this episode, there is still a lot of talking. And I think this one
there is still a lot of talking. It's actually at the protest, right?
Yes.
It's like, this is the most very clear, like, I am looking straight
to the audience. Yes. Like, I'm talking to the audience. This is not for you.
This is not for the actors.
This is not for black and white.
No, this is for you.
This is for you.
But I thought that was actually done really effectively in this episode. Like, I was cognizant of it, but I don't think it's a show where you're supposed to be like, oh, I didn't even realize that they were talking to me. Like, I think there is a bit of like Brechtian, like, I am speaking to you about this.
Yeah, totally.
Theater of alienation.
Okay, Diva.
So that is really cute. Is this new?
Got it at Etsy.
That's cute. So White and Graham have this conversation after they get wherever they went. I don't even know. And they talk about like what's the overall plan. And this is where White has been fully radicalized.
Right. White is talking about like, no, let's see this act in action.
He's like, oh, there's gonna be all these people who believe Towie, right? Yeah. The press is the mainstream. He goes. They were watching. Stop reading the mainstream media.
They were watching his press release or his
press conference.
Yeah. Yes.
And they were like, there is a web like blog basically called like Lynch News or something like that.
Lynch the News.
Lynch the News.
Ooh, maybe not the right word in the translation. I understand the word that they're trying to go for.
I get that it's a different situation here.
Maybe it's like
no, it's fine. So
that he's been tipping off.
He's been sending them tips.
Can I say this? Tips.
This would have been nice to know that he was doing this. This is an insane thing to drop in and be like, oh yeah, I've been doing this.
Yeah.
Because that
was kind of my... See, okay, a lot of that happened in this episode. I believe it when they say the information, but like, you just left us in the dark a little too much in the first season.
Yeah. Like, it was weird because he, like, you find out that White has sent them all the information. They like, reported the only truthful story about the arson. And you realize that he says, like, oh, I was the one who sent them all the information about it.
Under a pseudonym.
ROL. Rule of Law.
Rule of Law, honey.
Rule of Law Roach.
Yes. And, like, everyone's using the hashtag, basically. So...
Right.
And
this is where they're like, oh, there is a movement starting.
There is a movement.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. And they're
then they
meeting
just
outside
walk
tomorrow. No, it says on.
Okay,
Did you watch the show?
I didn't. I must have been writing down the note because
All of
the
a
next
sudden
thing
they
I
were
looked up and they were at the
a
protest, and it was like I thought they I literally wrote stumbled across Tawi protest, and I was going to be like,
That's
it's
weird.
a little crazy that they didn't know that this was going on.
They did, Dorothy.
So they did.
It was on the comments. Like, if you guys really believe this, show up at the quad tomorrow, 2 to 4 p.m. Food, live music, entertainment, and petition.
Protest art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And make sure you use the hashtag ROL when you're there.
Yeah.
So they show up, and Diva Boots is here.
Diva Boots is here. Diva Boots being Eugene, obviously.
Diva Boots is being Eugene, but also Hongjoong was there.
Stupid. Also, like, I'm going to say non-actors.
Yes.
And by that, I
The
mean...
vibe is like, these are probably real, like, marriage equality activists, like labor union activists.
Definitely marriage equality activists.
Definitely, like, queer activists.
Definitely queer activists. And probably, labor activists as well.
Yeah.
Which is really cool to give them this
totally.
kind of... Now, you had this moment where you were like, oh, and we're just dropping in marriage equality.
Yeah.
Which I do think is obviously very funny because the show has
they do.
really not been gay up until
it
this
has
point.
not been
Except
about...
for Jochen Unar.
Unar.
It's really, like, even with Afghan doing their... once every 75 minutes, they're going to look in each other's eyes.
Yeah.
Like, apart from that,
it's not been about, like, being gay as being marginalized. Because even in the Yok Unar, it's just like it's just romance.
Yeah.
But like nothing's being addressed that like being LGBTQ is as a like status of marginalization.
Oh, you didn't read it that way?
No. I'm saying prior to this, that hasn't been in people's like story. You felt like Yok and Unar had that like backstory?
I felt like this is the real world. So I think what you're saying is,
but there's
like,
nothing. It didn't feel like contextually in the plot, like no one was experiencing injustice specifically for being queer.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's why I was like, oh, when it came, I was like, oh, and I think Newt was there, and like she basically explains it to the audience, like, well, this is about like activating, like the marginalized to
well, I like the way she frames it where she's like, well, these people are already here, so we might as well also show up. So it's like, I mean, you're right.
Look, we got 3,000 people, but it's like it's basically like we're better united, everyone that is
unionized.
Yeah, literal union strong, honey.
As a former union member, okay, thank you so much. I just am not in my what I do now. There's no union for it. I just want to be clear.
The way you made it sound,
sorry,
like, as a former union member, and now I
am like Patty LaPote, and I left the union. Eugene is there. So they start with the like general Tawi is bad guy protest.
Yes.
I'm talking about these in very general terms, but I think these scenes are extremely effective.
Totally.
And I said this when we were watching it. This is the first time in a GMMTV show where there's supposed to be like a big crowd,
and it feels like a crowd.
It felt like
it's an actual crowd. They got an actual crowd.
And it was filmed where it feels like I didn't see the end.
Yes,
that's the other thing that really bugs me.
Yes,
is like
totally.
There'll be at a house party, like Only Friends. Only like a house party,
even in my school prison, like some of the bars,
or the Hot Wave.
Yes, Hot Wave.
They would film it, but then you would see right where the last person is. And I was like, no, you got to zoom in a little bit to make it feel even bigger.
Yeah. This feels like after they shot it, they had an actual like outdoor event.
I mean, this feels like it had to be expensive to shoot.
Yeah.
Just because of the amount of people that are like there for this thing, and they're all outside. And I mean, it was like on a pure like just scope level, I was like impressed because we really never get this kind of scope from GMMTV.
No,
the scope that when they give a scope, it's like the building is really nice, or like the like specific set pieces, but not like we're in the world, right?
But I mean, I think by making it this this protest where they want to make this message to come across.
Mhm.
I feel like it was probably very important to really do it authentically, but also like for the story, because like, oh, this is the first time they have all stripped their blinders and like, oh, we're actually like making a difference. There are actual people noticing, and it's not just us feeling like, oh my god, that's another, arson that disappeared from media.
Right. But I also think earlier in the show when I was watching it and I was thinking about like I obviously knew that there were like political things going on in
Mhm.
Thailand in 2022, so I was like trying to be like, well, what's the one-to-one? What are
Yeah.
they specifically addressing? And it was like this episode where I was like, oh, it's not this thing needs to be addressed.
Right.
I mean, like obviously I think the show is trying to say like there are injustices.
Yeah.
But the real thing the show is like asking the audience to do is like be a part of the collective. Like
Yeah.
it's like go out and participate in these events. Like go out and like find your community.
Mhm.
And like that's the only way to affect change
Yeah.
is by actually getting out, touching
showing
grass and doing the work.
showing that you are one of the many that
Yeah.
are united in it. Yeah.
Like form I don't want to say like form a union because obviously union is like a very specific term, but like a group.
Yes.
Do it.
Organize.
Yeah. Collect. Yeah, like signatures for petitions for the
okay.
amendments that they're trying to enact, which is what we're going to talk about next. So they do see Eugene at the protest. She's doing protest art. She says, come see me at the amendment tent. So they go over to the amendment tent. There are amendments for like forest preservation,
Mhm.
obviously referencing the first thing. Forest house on fire. And then there is another amendment that's like about monopolizing.
Yes.
And breaking up monopolies. And that's obviously in reference to the second thing. So we're really nailing it on the head. Love this. We are reiterating the point. We've gotten the point.
Mhm.
We all understand. Okay, great. He runs into Eugene. She's like, hey, I want to talk to you. First of all,
she's gorgeous.
she is pretty. That sounded like I was going to say
Yeah.
but.
She is pretty.
But I actually like that she is not.
She's not dolled up.
No.
She's not modeled.
It's a very like, I know this girl type pretty.
Yeah.
And like her hair is laid so well.
I know her hair is, yeah.
It is like the waves. Whoever did her hair, chef's kiss to you.
Which is so funny because if you've been dancing out in the streets,
no, she would never look like this.
She would be like,
"This is Thailand. Let's be so serious."
Let's be serious.
I don't understand. I mean, as a white person in a humid space, our hair does not do this.
No.
It does not.
No.
So God bless her. But she comes up. What I was gonna say though is like, she has like this really intense dramatic scene coming up. And I was just looking at her face and I was like, I think they smartly cast an actress that looks like a real human being. Because they have some in the gmmtv stable who are like models.
Yeah.
Like gorgeous girlies. And she's also very pretty, but there's something so innocent.
Natural.
Yes. About her like features that like, it's all a little bit more rounded. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just was like, because we're so close on her face this whole scene that I was like, yeah, this is the girl. This is Eugene. This is Eugene. I really liked this performance she gives. This is my MVP, by the way, of the episode. So she says, they have this conversation. He says, I know you hugged Graham. She's like, so you followed me. And he was like, well, maybe so. And then she's like, did he tell you that we kissed? And he was like, So she tells the story.
And we get a flashback.
Of
Black.
Our first official
Black
in
real time, yeah.
Black speaking flashback.
Yeah.
But this was the first one where he like was doing an entire scene and it wasn't just like
a flash
turning around and looking at Sean.
Yeah, it's not just
like
a look.
That. And I just, God, he's good.
Yeah.
He's really good. He is genuinely really good because, again, I've only seen him in this and Cooking Crush, which feels so crazy to say. But, and I do think there is some there's a little bit of White in the character that he played in Cooking Crush.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
He has that kind of like softness that I think like that character had.
Very internalized. Like
Yes.
yeah.
Obviously, like Cooking Crush is goofy.
Goofy, yeah.
But he doesn't really carry the goofiness like Off does. So I was like, oh, they're kind of similar. So I was like, well, I know he's like, and I think he does really, like, I think he's such a good internal, like, expressive actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I think this is good. And then this happened, and I was like, oh, it's range. Oh, he just knows when
He
to
just
employ
knows
it
what
and
to
what the
use.
character calls for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have watched BLs where I've been like, these people cannot act, and I still enjoyed the fuck.
Yeah,
out of it.
absolutely.
I want to be so clear.
Yeah.
It does not matter to me.
Yeah.
Because I can be like,
oh
I
yeah,
am
they
here
just can't act. Okay,
to
that's
watch
fine.
you suck that man's face. That is why I'm here, and that's okay. Eugene reveals that Black broke up with her.
It looked like it was the
I
day
think
of.
it's the day he gets like
because
hurt.
he's like also freaked out as fuck.
Well, he's like, my life is on the line.
My line's on the line. So
It's over.
yeah.
This is the Peter Parker breaking up with Mary Jane.
Sure.
Because is that something that happens? Does that happen? Am I thinking of
Been
that?
a while outside.
I think there's some time where Peter Parker as Spider-Man is like, I can't be with you because it's too great of a risk. They have the scene. He says goodbye. She's upset. Then we see that afterward, she hung out with Graham. They got drunk together. He kissed her. And then was like,
but then he
immediately was like,
apologizes.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that.
And she's like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Who cares?
Who cares?
It's not like
No.
a thing that continues. There's no reason for the hug. That's never discussed.
I think he just knows
Unless
that
it's supposed
she
to be like and assumed that it's just like she still feels
she
sad
still
about
feels
the whole
sad.
thing.
She just wants to be yeah. I'm still convinced they would not have shown those little toys that he brought and then that little card that says, I'm sorry I caught feelings.
So only gay people can give their straight friends gifts?
Yeah. Name a straight man. Period. First of all,
let's
name a
enact
straight
the
man.
change. Let us
Go ahead.
collect
Yeah.
together
Uh-huh.
and change straight men.
Unfortunately, no straight man is watching this.
I know. If you're
program.
straight, just drop a comment. Let us know you would buy your bro a gift. We're gonna get not a single comment.
A couple toy.
This is our first negative comments we've ever had.
That's what maybe Eugene does it because I thought I was like, oh, maybe it's a Little Broken Hearts Club. They both know that they both have feelings for Black, but no, I don't think. I think it's just Graham's motive of like comforting her.
It doesn't really
I
hold
don't
water
know.
for me, but
then
I'm interested to see.
Why would he have a card that says, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have caught feelings for you"?
I don't
Why
know.
the fuck would he have that?
I don't know, Diva.
So
Sorry, hate to tell you, I don't know. This is when I had my hypothesis for the episode. Because he says we have a voiceover from White.
Yes.
And he goes, aha. So
This
that's
proves
this proves that it's not them.
It's not them. It's not anyone in this group.
It has nothing to do with a
And
little
that
lover's quarrel, and that's why whatever.
The only option, the only possibility is that this was Towie.
Yeah.
Towie did the hit for him.
White is radicalized, bitch. The radicalization has happened.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, oh, in the end of the episode is him revealing to them, which I feel like made sense.
Yeah.
I still think it could happen.
I am laughing because I have made the same hypotheses for the past 2 episodes, actually.
What
That
do you
makes
mean?
sense. No, I've made hypotheses.
Oh, you've made other hypotheses.
Yes.
I was like, you haven't said this.
No.
I said that he's going to reveal himself now that he knows that they're safe.
Mhm.
He can trust them.
And
So
he's going to do,
be like,
I'm not non-time not.
I'm not non-time not.
Yeah.
From the greatest BL of 2023, Playboy the series.
Yeah.
And
In order to be like, this is how we can move forward.
yeah.
That I've been here all along to to now we can all work together for
the other
Taui.
thing too is
Now we organize.
I too have a reason. I too have a beloved family member that was hurt by Taui, Sean,
Yes.
and we can connect on
Now we
that.
can connect.
And we can push our little faces together and kiss about it.
Maybe that's what happens in the next episode. Maybe you're just predicting.
Just a one episode off.
One episode off.
Okay. They go to the same-sex marriage side of the protest, which is just like around the corner.
Yeah.
It's like a big open space.
Yes.
They have, this is the best part of this episode. Genuinely, and I'm not saying that because I'm gay. Although I am.
Yeah.
Both gay and saying it because I'm gay. This show, if I was to like be like, boy, one of the things that's like kind of a slog about it is that it is so serious, and it is incredibly like, even just the way they like are discussing all these things because they're so important, and the filmmakers want you to know that it's really important. So every character is treating it with so much importance. We haven't had joy on screen.
Yeah, totally.
The closest we got was when they
we're oil wrestling.
Jujutsu Kaizen'd over that fucking like wall.
Oh, yes.
When they jumped.
The ninja sequence.
The ninja sequence.
Yeah, Matrix.
And that was not supposed to be funny.
It just
right. It just was.
Yeah.
But like, we have not had joy.
Yes.
This entire sequence with the rainbow flag and the walk and the like
fashion show,
the fashion couples and the whatever.
Sean showing up,
them like lifting the thing and calling for like Taui to like, I don't know,
fuck off,
yeah.
And they're all under the rainbow flag, and they're like,
I am a person who is. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna come out strong. I would prefer a pastel rainbow flag because that's just my personal aesthetic. I just think it's a bit garish, okay? And that's fine.
Yeah.
I appreciate what it is.
The history of our pride flag, absolutely.
Love the colors, love the symbolism, love all of it, okay?
Yeah. That's why our branding is more trans flag really than anything.
Because it's gorge.
Pastels, yeah.
Because
it's gorgeous.
The girlies are doing it right.
Yes, the dolls are doing it.
The dolls are doing it right. So that all to say, usually I like love it. I love a pride flag. I love a pride festival. I love like it's great.
Seeing it.
We love seeing it. This like genuinely moved me. It was, they were like under it and they were like hitting it, and I just think,
and just like laughing at someone, and like that is the way. I feel like that's the main thing that we're trying to do now in 2025 for the next 4 years, right? It feels like there's no way other than like to still show that we can still be happy being who we are, like showing queer joy still, in order to show that like you can't erase this. It was very prescient. Like watching it, I was like, this is like still needed today. Especially here.
I think things are so dark.
Things are so bad.
And I am not guys. There's not one specific, things plural.
Things are so bad.
Plurality are bad.
Really bad.
And I can't,
like, to the
just
point, like
feeding back into it.
Yeah.
Just feeding into that anger to match it with anger that's like maybe more just.
Yes.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. That hurts. Like, it hurts the people.
It is exhausting.
It's exhausting. Yeah.
And like this,
and you can't keep fighting. So it was nice to just see them laughing and like celebrating that they're all united against
this man. Just got choked out by this other man,
and now they're holding hands under
20 minutes ago.
And now they're holding hands, jumping and smiling under a gay flag.
And I'm gonna say something else. I just felt like I felt gun. That's all I'm gonna say. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it really, really moved me.
Yeah.
Like, I was very emotional during this.
You can tell it's important to everyone on the show.
Well, yeah. And obviously, like, this, right? Like, in 2022, Thailand is, like, just at the cusp of, like...
And that's the thing. We said, like, it would have been crazy if they show a protest a real protest that could be happening in Thailand and not
Mhm.
talk about this, because it's like we're so close to
Yeah.
getting gay marriage legalized.
And this is the audience that would like root for that.
Yes, this is the audience that will help us get through it. So,
and like Thailand did it in the like we didn't do it this like ours was a Supreme Court decision that like made it legal, which is like great and fun. But there is something about it being like a
the
swell
people,
of
yes,
people support that like legislation is enacted
Yeah.
that feels it is effectively
like
the
civil
same,
rights,
right?
yeah.
Right? It's like the same, the outcome is the same,
Yeah.
but the way we got there is different, and it just like I don't know. I was like when that happened, we were still in college. I was in school, and there
Right.
weren't really like protests per se. Like Pride is technically always a protest,
Right.
but it wasn't like, oh, we're gonna like pressure our lawmakers to enact change. Like this was just a decision that got handed down by the Supreme Court, and then we were like, oh, we won.
Oh, we did it.
We did it. Well, slay, mama. So this was like very like satisfying to watch.
Yeah.
Even if it isn't like the exact thing that happened like right before everything changed in Thailand, like it still feels like close enough, and like the swell
Totally.
of energy is captured so well that I don't know, it really moved me. And I thought all of my thing last week where I was like, I don't know.
Where are we?
I don't know about Sean and White. I
Yeah.
don't know if I buy it, blah, blah, blah. This was the like, oh, there can be joy there. And like, if that's how they're going to bring it into it, is like, they're going to change their mentality about the world.
in
and
order
have-
to see
right?
each other.
And it's not just going to be this dour, like, slog.
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh, that's how it's going to work.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be fully on board.
Yeah.
And it already works.
And where it works.
I already cried.
Yeah.
So they find out from Gumpa. Gumpa got a check. They find out from Gumpa that Taui has a bounty out on their heads from his like hitman, basically. How Gumpa knows this information, who knows?
He's got a guy. He's a guy. He says he's like, I have an in the. I think you were writing notes.
I was probably writing.
But he was like, my sources from inside say.
My sources from inside say.
Yeah.
I feel like then I need you to do a little bit better of leading this group. If you have sources on the inside, diva boot.
But he's not leading this group. He's just training them.
I know, and I think that's stupid.
It's just a gym. They're just his trainer.
Oh my god. Is that probably how they got the blueprints for the factory?
Probably.
So Taui's out for blood.
Gave another press conference,
Yeah.
and when asked about, oh, does it have anything to do with all of these other things?
And the fire.
And the fire, and he storms off mad. That's definitely not what you should do at a press conference where you're trying to be like, look at how bad people are to me
Yeah.
and to us when we're trying to do the right thing.
We're trying to do the right thing, and we really want to treat these employees like family. We do have to let them go without pay, but we really care for them like a family. And that's all we have to say, and then you'll believe it. No company thinks of people as family. Let's just be very clear. Yok is in his art class. He's giving a presentation because they have to like get approval from their professor about the next project they want to work on. So he says that he wants to do a nude proletariat art project. And I am intrigued.
I'm intrigued.
Okay, I'm interested.
He sold me. Yeah, he really
I'm
did.
titillated.
It essentially is like using the nudity as the kind of like vulnerability to show like people that are marginalized by
the working class.
Yeah.
The people who runs like not run society, but are the reason society is able to run.
To have
are the people who are the working class. And so it's about like, what if we look at the proletariat and see how beautiful they are, instead of like it's just thinking like, oh, it's the rich and famous who like have great skin and all these things. What if we look at them and say this is also just as beautiful, if not more so? And the teacher's like, sure, great,
sure.
So then
and their so-called morality.
So he very clearly just wants to get in Unar's pants.
I know.
He came up with a whole art
He came
project
up
just
with
to
a
be
whole
like.
art project. I literally
And when
thought
I
at
think
the
of the
end,
working class, I even
I
maybe think of cops.
maybe like a cop,
Maybe like one specific cop.
maybe one specific cop.
Just
And so, if anyone knows this cop,
this guy.
this is the nude model that I will be using.
He already said yes. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So
he signed the release. So the somebody comes in and is like, "Hey, the cops are here. They want to talk to you."
Yes, there's a cop that wants, and I did not connect it because they had just said obviously the bounty.
Did he say one or cop? I thought he
said
cops.
police. There's police.
There's police here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I took it as plural. So then I was like, "Oh,
no!"
But yeah, I totally forgot that he was like a cop until.
So Yak tries to run away but gets caught, and he gets caught. He also says "gotcha."
He does.
He says "gotcha" back.
Just like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. He
Episode
says,
5?
"Gotcha." I'm that GIF of the the melting.
Oh, the melting. Yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to say about that? I don't really have much to say about this, so if you want to talk about how good it is, feel free.
It's good. It's good.
It's good, Doc.
It's so good. It's so good because it's just built on sexual sexual tension.
It's also
crazy.
So different from. Obviously, we've only ever seen First in OnlyFriends as well.
Right.
But I'm assuming
He's
that
like a
that's
little
kind
minx.
of their dynamic.
Yeah.
First,
him
First
and
and
Kao.
Kao. Is that's kind of their. That's what their stock trope is, right? That is not how he is with Gawain.
Yeah. He's like the.
He is like.
Ooh.
Why don't you come over here
Yes.
and fuck me sometime?
Literally.
It's very Mae West.
Literally, he is Mae West.
It's
He is fully being handcuffed, tied up, arrested, but there's still a level of like, what are you gonna do? There's an SNL skit like this where it's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna tie me up? You're gonna handcuff me? Where are you gonna take me in your car?
Yeah, it's incredible.
And so Unar takes him to his little secret hideout.
His secret hideout.
Yeah.
I was like, what do we even call
Because
this?
he's basically just trying to be like, I need my ID back. Who the fuck did you tell? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And literally his response, his like main line of defense is like, well, I'm not like your other stands on like social media. I actually see like the quality of the artwork. It's not about the story for me because I already believe that. It's more about your technique that I'm like really into. Like I get art. Yeah.
It's so pretentious.
And it works. I mean,
it does.
And I think it's really interesting because his Unar is like, I've never studied art. This is just something that
it's a passion.
And
since I was a child.
Yes, I've always done it, but I've never felt like I could actually make a difference with it until I started applying it to the challenge.
Well, okay, so they are. Yeah, I didn't even think about it when I was watching it, but having the guy who's making the like protest art, like the visual art, be a cop.
Yeah.
Adds another layer back into the recurring theme of the show, which is like, which way is the
correct way?
Yes. Or like, what's the
most effective way?
Effective is a better way to say it. Yes. Yeah. Because his point, because he asks him like, why are you doing it? Like, why do you do this art? And
he's like, I just want to help people.
I want to help people, which I think is so telling that they gave the cop the line that says like, I want to help people. You are. It technically seems like
it should be.
That's the
but
job
the fact
description.
That he doesn't feel like he's helping people as a cop.
Now they do give him the thing of being like, you don't know all we do in a day. Da 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 da.
Yes,
you only see like the bad
you only
news,
see the things.
Blah, blah, blah. And that's fine.
The paperwork, the traffic.
Right. Oh my god, writing traffic stops.
Yes.
Yeah, the hard grunt work.
Grunt work.
Yeah, I feel so bad. You're right. Don't fuck cops.
Not all cops.
Oh my god.
This one cop. honey.
Just this one.
Just this one. Just this one cup. She's turned on. She's turned on,
first of all.
She said, fuck cops, and I'm trying to.
You took my joke. Damn it. But they flirt very clearly.
Yes.
It's not hidden.
And it's truly because
the part where he comes up to his neck and he's like,
yes,
what do you
want to
do, Mr. Officer?
He said, yes, officer.
Girl. He's crazy. He's crazy. I mean, I would be too.
Soaked.
Look at him. Look at
We
Gowan.
couldn't. We couldn't look at him.
Stop looking at the screen.
We couldn't look at him because every time they close up on both of their faces, like the way First conveys sexual chemistry.
I know.
Magical.
I know.
It's insane.
I know. It's so good.
It was like, you've already drawn me before. What was that about? You've already painted me before.
Laying on his bed.
And then he's like, would you want to keep painting me?
That's crazy. So it ends with
he draws a portrait of him.
Yuck.
He's like,
he wants to draw a portrait of him. Yep.
Yeah. It's my turn to draw you.
And apparently it's going to be nude.
And it's going to be nude.
Nice.
I actually wrote this part of the
that's why it feels totally very different.
Yes, the best episode so far. I think because they have done the work of building all of this up, this was the first episode that really activated it. I think intelligently by showing that, the people actually are listening and care about this.
Mm-hmm.
And activating the BLs.
100%.
But it's combining the BLs to kind of like show that it gives them more reason to like fight for. It's almost like a mini arc. Like they fail this mission,
mm-hmm.
and they need to be reminded that what they're doing is still right. And in doing so, helping them see men in a new way.
Mm-hmm. So going to protest makes you gay. That's the...
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just to make sure.
So go.
Act
up. Fight AIDS.
Yeah. Sure.
I could be frustrated that it like took 7 episodes to get here, but
it's too late.
It
already happened.
It already happened. So
as long as we continue this trajectory, yes, I think I will forgive a lot.
I don't want another episode where it's just like, I don't even mind the talking anymore because I am used to it, and I appreciate that they're getting information not really for the characters, it's for the audience.
You can tell when it switches.
Yeah.
You can hear it in the like way. I obviously don't speak Thai, but I feel like you can just hear the way the conversation changes.
But I do like when they still incorporate it in their own way in the story. Like, I really like Newt's whole thing of like, yes, we're also addressing like LGBT issues, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end was like, so, you can finally have your trans wife, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, that's still like in character that I really appreciated.
Yeah.
So
MVP?
It's first. He did a lot of work here.
Yeah.
From kind of like telling Sean, like, girl,
Mama, this is garbage.
This was garbage. This is garbage. To fully like scamming a project so that he can justify being able to paint Unar specifically naked, and then actually like just getting his man. And his flirting works, because at first I was like, well, I couldn't understand, like, what is Unar's motive? Like is he just trying to be like, I just don't want, like, just protect myself?
I already said mine. Mine was Eugene. Even though her scene is so short, it's so short.
Yeah.
I just was like I really bought what she was selling.
Totally. I hope we see more of her.
And that single tear was a paid actress. Its own paid actress.
There was a line that he says, like, I could tell that she is someone very important to Black, and that he would go out of his way to do this in order to protect her, which makes me think she's gonna be like someone they have to save.
Totally, 100%. She's Daphne.
She's Daphne.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like to join our Not Me reaction journey, you can join us on patreon.com/boyslove. The bow level lets you watch this and the other YouTube show that we're recapping, which is Kingdom Legendary War. And it'll also give you the opportunity to vote for the next show once this is done. And if you go up to a Bob level, you also get a bonus show just for you. Right now, the Bobs are enjoying a very wet BL.
Oh my God.
With us. So if you'd like to know what that is, join the Bobs.
It's my personal weatherman. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about that show moving too slow.
They are moving.
I'd love for that show to slow the fuck down. So I get a brain aneurysm.
Yeah. So see you there and see you next week.
Bye.